Hi, my name is Roseanne Abbey, the Royal Rai for short. Welcome to Return with Rai, and thank you for joining me for today's episode. So today is the last of the series for this month, and we will be talking about domestic violence. In this era or time of COVID-19, in the US alone, the Department for Domestic Violence, they get 2,000 calls. I found out that they get 2,000 calls a day, and about 975 of those calls are related to domestic violence between the 10th of March to now. So they have been 10th of March to I think 24th of March or so. It's crazy, you know, and this domestic violence has heightened or has increased because people are now confined or in quarantine with their abusers. And domestic violence, people have always taken domestic violence to just be physical, you know, but domestic violence could be physical abuse, could be, they've always said it's physical when it results to bodily harm. That's the one we readily know. But there's domestic violence that's emotional, there's domestic violence that's psychological, there's the most violence or abuse or domestic violence that is financial. There are different kinds, okay? So today we'll just look at some and why it happens, or like, you know, what it is. And in the book that I've read, is a book that was written in 1980, The Battered Woman. There was a story about a lady that it never left my memory, my head. She was battered, of course, beaten by her husband and all. But when she was asked, you know, her neck was actually broken, and you know, she went for treatment and all. But after it, and she was interviewed, because I think it became a local news in her community. When she was interviewed, she said the pain of the broken bone in her neck wasn't an issue for her. What really was an issue for her is the fact that before then, you know, the man was telling her what led to the beating was more of a problem to her. And that the man was telling her to act like a dog, you know, bark like a dog. Then sometimes he would tell her another particular type of animal that she should act like, you know. So it was humiliating and debasing, and this is what happens in a circle of, there's something they call circle of violence, you know, domestic violence. So normally it has circle of violence. There are three stages. So I have it here. Let me just read it. The first phase, or three stages or three phases. So first phase or first stage, the abusers. Now this is I would break down on the different kinds, but this is just in general as a whole. Any kind of abuse normally happens in three stages. The first phase or stage is the pick fight with you, the abuser. So now when I say abuser, I'm not going to say the man, because I came across, I don't know whether it's this week or last week, on the streets of Facebook, and I found out that some men actually go through this domestic violence, but I think because of societal issues or shame, they don't talk about it. So when I say an abuser, I don't just think it's only the man. Some women are abusers. Okay, so the abuser may pick a fight with you, act jealous and possessive, criticize, threaten you. This is in the first stage. May be a drunkard, drink, uses drugs, you know, and maybe moody. All of a sudden it's just moody, unpredictable, sometimes acts crazy. And then the survivors of this first stage, this is what they do. They either keep silent, tell the children to keep silent, they are afraid and anxious, they try to calm the abuser. Some try to say it's my fault why, you know, the abuser is behaving this way. They try to reason with the abuser, feel like he or she is walking on eggshells. It's first stage. And in this stage, people always say, oh, the person will change. This is where if the person even manages to voice it out, but they hardly do. People start telling them pray or start telling them do different stuff. Phase 2, verbal and emotional abuse starts. Sexual assault starts. There's physical abuse in this stage 2. There's increased control over money. There's financial abuse. They restrain the partner. And there's something I must say here. Domestic violence, usually, it's the abuser wants to enact or exert control. That's just the main thing. They want control over another individual. Destroy properties. And then the survivors will now experience fear and shock, protect themselves and their children, use self-defense, call for help, pray for it to stop, try to flee or leave, do what is just necessary to survive. So the survival instinct kicks in. And then the last and the most dangerous phase, this is where now the abuser becomes manipulative. So what does the abuser do? He asks for forgiveness. Oh, it won't repeat itself. I won't do it again. Cry, crawl, tumble, hop. Tell the whole world. Oh, please help me, beg you, are my world. If you leave, I will die. Because now it has gotten to the point that the abuser is considering leaving. Doing anything necessary for survival. And the abuser is aware. When they now start promising it won't happen, they will stop taking drugs or stop drinking for a while, begin to pretend to go for counseling or to seek counsel, be affectionate, now try to initiate intimacy when before there was sexual abuse, minimize or deny that there's even any form of abusive families get involved. And what will the survivors start trying to do here? They either forgive or return to the abusive home, and the circle repeats itself again from one. They arrange for counseling, they feel hopeful, feel manipulated. Some blame themselves. Some even try to say, okay, maybe I was dreaming, maybe this really didn't happen. So all these things are things that we must be careful. So different types of domestic abuse happens. So some people are in denial. So I want to help you in case you're in denial. Depending on the type of domestic violence you're experiencing, I'll list some things. If you're experiencing those things, then you know that you're being abused. And then at the end of the video, I will tell you what you can do if you identify that you're being abused. Because especially when I saw the statistics in the US, I'm sure it happens all over the world. Now that most people will be confined with their abusers, it's a problem. It's a very big problem. Because some people will not just die out of the COVID-19, this domestic violence will kill them. And so there's emotional abuse. It's sometimes harder than physical abuse to identify or recognize. The bruise is in the heart, it's not in the body where it can heal. It's where it's not seen, but that doesn't mean a scar is not there. So you are an abuser if this happens, or if you do this, or the person expressing domestic violence, if this happens to you. Ignoring a partner feeling, ridiculing or insulting the partner, ridiculing or insulting the partner's race or heritage or class or social status. You're not even my class, I did you a favor marrying you, all those kind of things. Or you should even be lucky that you have me in your life and all. Continually criticizing, calling names, shouting at the partner, humiliating the partner both in private and in public. Refusing to socialize, refusing to allow this partner socialize with other people. I've seen people where they can't step out, they can't go out, they can't have friends, they can't keep friends, nothing. You can't go anywhere without your abuser. They regularly threaten to leave you, not allowing you access to basic needs. Let's say you need medications or you need toiletries. Gaslighting, where they make you, or crazy making, where they try to, fuel stuff. Abandoning someone in dangerous place, threatening to hurt or kill a family member if you leave. Punishing you or punishing your kids if you misbehave. Threatening to kidnap your children, abusing and torturing your pets, harassing your partners, manipulating you, destroying your future, welding weapons in your front. Maybe you just bring out the gun and clean it where you are so that you see it, or whatever it is that they use to flog you, you just be arranging it very well in order to tell you that one more step, you're one step away from being beaten. And then this is for emotional abuse. Physically, you see, in all these things, the person has not necessarily touched your body or touched your skin. But of course, it's affecting your mental health. It's affecting you psychologically. Physical abuse, of course, this is one that you always know if you're being abused, if you're the type that even shouts and all that, your neighbors and people will know that you're being abused. Now, so the things that involve in this physical abuse is pushing, kicking, slapping, punching, scratching, pulling or ripping out the person's hair, strangling, biting, spitting on the person, throwing objects on the person, suggesting one to reckless driving, using household objects as weapons. Women like doing this one. They just run when the quarrel starts, run to the kitchen and takes a knife. Threatening partner with weapon, non-consensual play. Abuse the partner as a result of laceration, broken bones. Abuse that leads to disfigurement or disability, murder. You see, domestic violence can be lethal. It can lead to death because you don't know the condition of the person, you don't know the health condition of this person, and then when you start carrying out all these things, the person can die. And then lastly, the type of abuse I want to talk about is sexual abuse, because this abuse is one that people hardly talk about. I've seen men argue that it's impossible to rape your wife. I've seen women say it's impossible to rape your husband. People even quote scripture and say where the Bible says don't deny your spouse, your body and all that. Don't deny, it means consent. There must be consent. Don't deny, yes, that means you tell me you want something and I willingly give it up. Not that you take it by force. When you take it by force, I don't care whether you're a pope, a bishop, a archbishop, a pastor, whatever you are committing rape and it's sexual abuse, even in the confine of marriage. So and sexual abuse is not only when it has to do with sex and when it has to do with rape. You have birth control sabotage, because a woman has control of her body. If she decides to use birth control and say, I've had too many kids, some men are very wicked. 7, 8, 9, 10, you still want the woman to be giving birth, you want her to die. And some of you actually want her to die so that you can marry your side chick, but God will make her not to die. So birth control sabotage, reproductive coercion, using sexual derogatory name, forcing a partner to strip, forcing a partner to become a sex worker or a prostitute to bring home for you. This one happens with couples who travel abroad, and as a source of livelihood, they try to pimp their wife out to people. People think these things don't happen. They factually happen. Accusing a partner of promiscuity when the partner is not like that type. Forcing a partner to watch pornography or forcing a partner to watch you having sex with your girlfriends. People think these things don't happen. They happen. And then subjecting the partner to unwanted touching, subjecting a partner to, like what I discussed in the 3rd episode, where you force a partner to have anal sex with you when they don't want to. Forcing a partner to participate in unwanted sexual activity. Biting, pitching, or hurting a partner during sex in the name of it brings you pleasure. That's fetish. If the person doesn't want to engage in it and you force the person, that's sexual abuse. Sexually assaulting a partner. When you do all these things, you are an abuser, and you that is in the receiving end, you're being abused sexually. And lastly, I wanted to end, but let me just talk about this financial abuse quickly. But if you have not watched the other episodes where I talked about finance, please do so. So financial abuse is often unknown. People think it's normal, especially depending on upbringing, depending on how the person views money or sees money. The person may be abused financially and not even know. It's a domestic violence, but some partners may not know. This is where a partner controls the financial independence and financial freedom of another person. If you do this, you're a financial abuser. Where all the bank accounts in the house are in your bank account. You control how, when, and where the money is spent. You're a financial abuser. You assign an allowance, often very unrealistic allowance, to the other person. You deny a partner the right to work outside the home or to make financial contribution to them when the partner wants to. Now I've seen women who work from home and make 6 figures, but it's their choice. Where it becomes a problem is where the partner says, I want to work, and you force that partner to stay at home. That's where there's a problem. I'm not talking about women who decide to be stay-at-home moms. That's a choice. So it's a different ballgame. Controlling all or most of the finances. Misusing the partner's name for financial gain. This happens mostly with women, especially women who are married to influential men. You just begin to manipulate, use his name, collect loans, go to creditors, go to different... You are wrong. This thing you must discuss. So that's why I say please refer to the past episodes on finance. Forcing a partner to sign documents against their will, maybe to sign off their inheritance to you, or to transfer their taxes to you, or to transfer their credits to you, it's wrong. So if you find out that you're being either emotionally abused, sexually abused, financially abused, physically abused, what then do you do? Because most of the time, while abusers stay where they are, is because they feel they have no choice. In saner climes in US, UK and the West, there are, of course, people have shelters, people have centers for domestic violence, people could call in, people could go, find shelter. But in some other countries, where people see it as a taboo when you leave your home, where people tell you, marriage is for better, for worse, you can't leave. Please also refer to past episodes where I told us there are times where you can leave your home. At least be separated for your sanity, for your life, for your well-being. And so some of these people who are being oppressed or being abused don't have where to go. They're actually like homeless. Because I know some traditions, I'm a Nigerian, so I know some traditions where if you've been married, they even tell you if there's a problem, you're not welcome back to your father's house. So they do that in a bit to make your marriage work. But I think it's wrong. You're supposed to, whether male or female, you're supposed to welcome back home if it doesn't work. Or if you so desire or you say there's a domestic violence, proven domestic violence. So one thing I want to say is this: if you know you're being abused in any of the type of abuses, please seek help. seek help. Find a counselor, seek help. I believe in prayers too, but while you're praying, seek help. Factual help, physical help, realistic help. If you're lucky to live in a country where there are centers for all these things, please involve them, because you see, your life, if you die, trust me, life will go on. The world won't stop. Especially from an abuser that really didn't care about you, the world won't stop. You'll go on his or her life. So please find help. And if you see that the children are in danger, remove them. If you have family members that can take care of those children, send them there for a while. If you have sisters, relatives, parents, that means the kids' grandparents are still alive, luckily for you, please send them there. Because they shouldn't witness this. Because there's something else that I learned statistically. When people grow up in a home where there's domestic violence, there's 50% chance that they become abusers themselves, because they feel that that is the way it should be done, especially the male children. If they see their father abusing their mother, they think that that is the way to control a woman, that is the way it should be. Or the daughter grows up and sees that the mother is maybe verbally abusive or emotionally abusive to the father, she takes it up, doesn't know how to talk, doesn't know how to treat a man, and becomes abusive herself. So we must watch these things. Please take yourself away from harm's way. I know that we're in quarantine, but that doesn't, the authorities are still working. The authorities are not in quarantine. Call, make that call that friend, call that family member, call that counselor, speak out, talk, don't die in silence. One of the major things, especially when you have identified the first stage, don't keep silent, because most of the time, when you keep silence, you enable the abuser to get into the second circle, into the second stage or phase of this abuse. So please talk, seek help, and of course, if you're religious, pray. I know that prayer also changes things. So join me next week for another episode on Read Time with Right. Please follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow me on IG. The handles are all on the screen. Bye.